Hello everybody, my name is Sniping Spawn, and I welcome you all back to this next video, this next newcomer in this series of videos, series of newcomer ideas for the upcoming Super Smash Bros. Game on Nintendo Switch, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And as mentioned in the last video when I talked about Soma cards from Castlevania, this next character, my 59th character in the series, is going to be me returning to the world of indie gaming and talking about technically my fourth indie character in this list. I've already talked about Shovel Knight, Shantae, and Gunvolt. This time I'm going to be talking about Quote from the Cave Story franchise. Now, as always, 3 separate categories. Why does the character make sense to be in Smash Bros? Moveset ideas, and percentage chance I can see him actually getting in. Let's just start like, why does Cave Story deserve to be represented as Smash Bros? If Smash Bros. Got a third-party character that was an indie gaming character, why would it be Quote over, say, Shantae or Shovel Knight or Gunvolt or something? Like, why would he be the chosen choice? Unless, if there's only one, but let's just say if there's only one. But like there could be 2 or 3 for all we know. I have no idea. It's not very realistic, but anything can really happen. But let's just say if there's only one, why would he deserve to be in Smash Bros. In general? And why would also he deserve to be the chosen indie game character if there is to be one indie game character in the series? Okay, it's basically he is one of the oldest indie game characters. Like his first game, the first version, like on like the computer and whatnot, which was the original version of Cave Story, was back in 2004. He's almost as old as Shantae. Shantae's first game was in the Game Boy Color in 2002. So basically, he is one of the oldest indie game characters in that form of video games, the indie game genre. One of the oldest ones. So he's one of the most iconic ones when it comes to that field. So that alone should probably put him into the same category as, say, a Shantae. And basically, Cave Story has also released multiple times on Nintendo systems. They released it on the WiiWare and the DSiWare, which I think was the original game. Then they made a 3D version of it on 3DS, and then they put Cave Story Plus on the Nintendo Switch. 4 different Nintendo systems within the last 12 years have a version of Cave Story on it. So he is very close to Nintendo, even if it's all very different renditions of the same game. He is he's close enough to him to have those different versions of Cave Story be released on different forms of Nintendo systems over the last 12-ish years. So Cave Story in itself is a game that has close history to Nintendo, recent history with Nintendo. And he has 4 games, even though they're all basically the same game, same as Shantae. So his franchise is one of the oldest one of the oldest indie game franchises as well. So it's like he's been around since the inception of what like the indie game characters are, at least in terms of the 2000s. I know there's some indie game characters that started in the 90s and whatnot. I'm talking about in terms of recent memory since the turn of the century kind of thing. And he's also was important enough, and I know this isn't really a major reason, but I've included spin-offs as well, and side games and different cameo appearances for characters as reasons for why they make sense to be in Smash Bros. Anyways, so I'm going to include here with Quote. He's been included as one of the characters they picked for Blade Strangers. And for those of you that don't know what Blade Strangers is, it's basically a one-on-one 2D style fighting game with a lot of different video game indie type characters that has like Gunvolt in it, and Shovel Knight, and Curly Braces, and Quote, both from Cave Story and whatnot. So if he's important enough to be put in that, as well as that other game from that company, the Puzzle Fighter one that has like Astro Boy in it, if he was important enough to be included in those 2 spin-offs, I'd say he's at least important enough to be put in Smash Brothers. So those are my reasons. 4 appearances on Nintendo systems, on WiiWare, DSiWare, 3DS, and the Switch. He's one of the oldest iconic like indie game characters, indie game franchises, alongside like Shantae, because his first game was in 2004, and Blade Stranger's appearance. There you go. Second character, moveset ideas. Now, I had to do a little bit of research here. I'm not super familiar with Cave Story. I do own the game on the Switch, and I put a decent chunk of time into it, but not enough that these people that probably grew up with the game since 2004 and know the game in and out and all these different, they can just make a moveset off the top of their head. I never played the game to the Switch. I actually kind of missed out on buying the 3DS version, and then obviously I totally didn't even realize it was on the 3DS, on the DSiWare and the WiiWare and whatnot. So skipped my mind for years. But it is a fun game, a little puzzle action platforming style game. And I had to do a little research, but his moveset is not super intricate to make, to come up with. So let's start with the smash attacks. He can punch, he can kick, and I mainly used watching gameplay footage of him in Blade Strangers to realize that he could do like uppercut punches and spin kicks where he's like and kick people and punch and do punch combos and kicks and whatnot. So it's going to be kind of like a Fox type of thing, where his weaponry is the special attacks, but the smash attacks are punches and kicks and whatnot. He can fight. He is a robot. He is trained to fight. He doesn't just use weaponry. He can fight. And I'm using Blade Strangers for that as well. But I do recall in the game he can do that somewhat too. But it's mostly a Blade Strangers reference, so I'm kind of referencing Blade Strangers in his Smash Bros. Moveset. His special attacks are where all his weaponry comes from, his guns and everything. And obviously he has the Polar Star, which it's basically the normal standard handgun shooting little laser bullets and everything, and that'll be his standard weaponry. It'll play just like the likes of like Fox and Falco and Wolf, like a laser gun shooting type of thing. He also can shoot a fireball, which bounces off the walls, so it's a good strategy of firing it, aiming it, and bouncing off the walls. Maybe you can hit the wall and bounce it off and maybe hit your opponent from behind or something. He can use a machine gun, so he has rapid fire gun, weaponry. He can shoot a blade, so that's like one standard, just like blade type thing, which would do a decent chunk of damage. Maybe you charge that to get the blade. It could be a charge attack. He could do a missile launcher, which will probably be one of his strongest attacks, shooting a couple missiles out that explode on impact, and hitting the opponents will obviously damage them. And he has the bubble line, which shoots bubbles, which are mostly used for protection. He can shoot the bubbles around himself, so enemy, their ranged attacks and then coming up close to attack him, they'd have to hit the bubbles to get through to get to him. But the bubbles also hurt opponents too, so they can bump into him and hurt the opponent. But it's mostly used as a shield. Not instead of his standard shield, he also can use bubbles to keep opponents at distance. So there you go with that. And that's basically his special attacks. He can use a missile launcher, a machine gun, the Polar Star, shoot fireballs off the walls, bubble line. There you go. In the blade. Now his final smash, which I had to do a little bit of research on because I never got that far in the game. But it's the Nemesis, and people know exactly what that is, know exactly what it entails, and yes, I'm integrating the special abilities it has in his final smash, because it'd be oh so hilarious and counterproductive to actually using it too. But it makes it fun, and it's a nice little nod to the game. But the Nemesis is basically later on in the game, you have to give up your blade to use this big time, this powerful weapon that's really strong, but gets weaker the more you use it, the more you level it up, which is actually kind of hilarious. So basically it's this big giant gun. So when you activate the Final Smash, it's like a standard walking around Final Smash. You're powered up. It's like, Supersonic or Pikachu's Volt Tackle, or like any of the transformation type ones where you just quickly get it and you can use it. I know it goes against what the quick and to the point Final Smash type of thing, that Sakurai says the Final Smash are quick and to the point. But if it was a standard one, let's just go with being realistic here. I'm going to talk about my crazy idea of how it would be fun to make this Final Smash in 1 second. If we're going by Sakurai's reasoning, he just takes out the gun and shoots them, and any opponent that gets hit by it will obviously be like, that would be the standard boring Sakurai way to him wanting to just make the cut, the Final Smash is quick and to the point. But my cool way is he takes the gun out and you shoot opponents with it. The first KO you get is going to be super simple. It shoots out like 2 bolts of energy, and there's pretty good distance, and they do great damage. The opponents will get blown off the stage. Once you KO one opponent, it goes from level 1 to level 2, which means 1 really thin bolt of energy, which has a shorter range, less damage. And if you're able to knock off a second opponent, it goes to the 3rd level, which means you shoot out ducks! 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 You shoot out little squeaky toy ducks, and they do little to no damage, which means your Final Smash screws you over to really only ever really being able to get maybe 2 kills with it, 2 KOs with it. But if you can knock out opponents with ducks and you keep shooting out super weak range shooting ducks, you can get a third, fourth, or fifth KO, which wouldn't work because my idea would be the time for about 30 seconds you have the ability to use this gun at all. If you're able to get any KO past 2, it would be hilarious, but you can do it. It's just super weak because the ducks do little or no damage. And that's the Nemesis. Okay, so let's get on the third category. Percentage chance I actually see Quote getting in. It's possible. If they go for an indie game character, it's very possible they might go for him. But I don't think he's the most likely indie game character, and I said that before when I did the Gunvolt video. Back when I did Shantae and Shovel Knight, I gave them like 85% chance each, I think. Because they're both neck and neck. I think Shovel Knight for popularity, but Shantae for iconic status and more close ties to Nintendo. I'm putting him in the same category as Gunvolt, which I think was a 75% chance. 65% chance. Okay, it was 65% chance. I gave them both 85% chance because if there's an indie game character and only one, it's really between Shantae and Shovel Knight. I'm sorry to say, but it's true. But he's in the same category as Gunvolt. Gunvolt for popularity reasons, like Shovel Knight in that category. But him because of iconic reasons. He's been around since 2004, multiple games on Nintendo, even though most of them are the same game. There you go, 65% chance. Meaning he's that second level of indie game character we could potentially see. Him and Gunvolt are tied, while Shantae and Shovel Knight are basically the highest ones we're likely to get. It's still possible to see him, it's just not super likely. And he'd be such a cool character to get. But anyways, even if he doesn't get in, he's in Blade Strangers. And if you guys want to play as him in a fighting game, go buy that. It's on the Nintendo Switch. You can get the puzzle game, fighter game too. And there you go. And even if he doesn't get in Smash Bros., we at least have something to play as him in. Because I think Cave Story needs a little bit more love. And it'd be kind of cool to see him get in Smash Bros. It's just not super likely. And I think 65% chance is a decent category, especially for an indie game character. But it's not that high level one choice. So there you go. And that's it for Quote from Cave Story. Now, I hope you guys like this video. Put in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys think Quote be a cool character to put in? Does my reasonings make sense? What reasons do you think he deserves to be in? Do you even want to see him get in? Does it even make sense to get in? What about my moveset ideas? Would it be cool? Would the Nemesis be cool if it was actually like that with the ducks? That'd be so freaking awesome. Because I think that's actually super hilarious that they had that in the game. It's one of the strongest weapons you can get, but it gets super weak as you use it. And like moveset ideas, is 65% chance too low, too high? Does he make sense to be the indie game character pick? Does he make more sense than Shantae and Shovel Knight? Does he make more sense than Gunvolt? I don't know. Put in the comments what you guys think. We can discuss it there, have fun, and that's it for character number 59. We're making finally the character number 60, and I jump back into the world of Nintendo, and I jump back into the world of Fire Emblem. I'm going to be doing my first character from Fire Emblem Three Houses, Edelgard. The silver-haired lady with the axe, for those of you who have not seen the Three Houses trailer back from E3, which you should have, because if you're a Nintendo fan, you watched that, and it was one of the first games they had. But yes, I'm doing the Fire Emblem characters, and the other Three Houses characters will come later on down the line. I basically mentioned I'm going to do all 4 of them, but I'm starting with Edelgard because she's the character that stuck out to me, even though she's not directly the main character. But I think she'd be super interesting. She's my 60th character. We're doing one more Fire Emblem character before we get on to other Nintendo and third-party and whatever the heck else characters. Stay tuned. Have fun. My name is Fun. Peace. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a lovely day. See you all later.